What is going on? Psych Perspectives, GeoFux here, and unfortunately, we are still discussing femicide. Women and girls are being killed and slaughtered, murdered and abused, taken advantage of, sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, physically harassed. Just, there's no respect for women and girls. And the out cold part about all of this is nothing new. This has been going on. Again, when you have misogyny, sexism, patriarchy, toxic masculinity, and also toxic femininity, because let's also keep in mind that there are women and girls who perpetuate misogyny and perpetuate toxic femininity. It isn't just men who are participating in this, because at the end of the day, when you look at a lot of these boys, who's raising them? It's the mother, the vast majority of the time. Now, don't get me wrong, hold these men accountable, because at the end of the day, this allowing people to be deadbeat fathers is ridiculous. And at the same time, if that father is absent, the vast majority of the time, it is the woman, the mother, that's raising the child. And unfortunately, when you look at a lot of these boys, they're coming from single parent homes that are typically reared by a single female. So when you see these boys growing up to be sexually violent, abusive, physically violent, abusive, they're coming from that toxic mother that nobody ever really wants to talk about. She's just as a part of the problem as the man that isn't there for that son or that daughter or for that child. Now, the situation that happened, now mind you, the situations that I'm about to talk about, you got a situation where a 15-year-old girl had her throat slit, stabbed, murdered with a machete because a 17-year-old boy didn't get what he wanted. And basically, this was a premeditated murder because he had already brought the machete with him and basically was, hey, if you don't accept the flowers and the romantic gesture that I'm giving to you, I'm going to take your life. Because again, what are boys and men being taught? And I'm just going to break it down. What are cisgendered boys and cisgendered men being taught? Because this is not trans men. This is not intersex men. These are cisgendered males who are participating in this behavior because of how they are socialized. Socialization plays a major role, and I am so sick and tired of hearing cisgendered people and trans folks alike sit up and do this. Well, socialization is not the main. It is the reason. At the end of the day, we are all socialized differently, and we all know that. Okay? When you have misogyny and patriarchy at the forefront, you're literally teaching boys that women and girls are property. And you're teaching women and girls that they don't have any rights. They don't have any bodily autonomy. How dare they say no to your advances? You're telling them that they have to forego their own happiness and peace because everything is always centered around that cis male and what he wants and what he needs. Meanwhile, he is typically a terrorist, wreaking havoc on everybody, including himself, including other cis men. So here we go. Women can't say no to anything. If somebody asks them for a phone number, they better give it up because they might get hit with a brick. They might get their throat slashed. All kinds of things are happening because men are not getting their way. Because misogyny is teaching them that women are property. They are accessories to them. This is why they have this mindset. Okay? And then also, you have a lot of women. Let's also talk about this. What is going on with all of these black women and girls that are coming up missing or murdered after going on, vacations, trips, or hanging out with their supposed friend group? A lot of y'all need to start recognizing these are not your friends. Now, I'm talking about the situation where, once again, you had a young 21-year-old black cisgendered woman who was going on a cruise with her friends to celebrate her birthday. She comes up missing. They just find her body floating in the body of water that the cruise was going to be at down south. And this is after going on a cruise with her friend group, who then, similar to the situation last year with that other young woman that got killed in Mexico with her friend group. Once again, they're all of the friends. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what happened. They're all acting like they're trying to come up with all these different stories to justify why their friend didn't come off the boat alive with them. You even got some of the people in this friend group talking about that she never got on the boat. Meanwhile, the phone records show otherwise. Not to mention all of these cases where black cisgendered men are killing their girlfriends, their wives, and their children. It just needs to be stated. Black femicide is at a very high alarming rate, and it has definitely been exacerbated over the past 3 years with the pandemic. And it needs to be talked about. We can't keep sitting up here ignoring the obvious. Then when you sit up here with the red pill, the manosphere, where you literally have cisgendered men going around and basically saying women don't deserve rights, F them, they're only good for sex, they ain't nothing but hoes. You're dehumanizing them. And you're encouraging these young boys that are impressionable, who are on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and or X, YouTube, what have you. They're impressionable and they're listening to these grown adult cis males tell them bitches ain't shit. They ain't nothing but hoes. They just out here to get your money. Meanwhile, on average, a lot of these cis men are broke. They don't have the money for anybody to be a gold digger for. You sitting up here making $40,000 a year and thinking somebody is going to be using you. You can't even take care of yourself. You're living check to check. So how is she going to benefit from your broke ass? And I'm just keeping it real. Okay. And here, I only make $42,000 a year myself as an intersex trans man. So I know for a fact, ain't nobody using me as a gold digger, because I'm broke and I'm living check to check. So you're not really finna be balling off of me. And then it's projection, right? Because let's be real, especially in the black community, it's typically the cis male that has nothing to bring to the table that's using the woman. Okay? You're sitting up living at her house, in her apartment, in her condo, in her townhouse. You're broke. You're eating up the kids' fruit snacks and lunch meals. You're sitting up here asking her to buy you a PS5. You're not contributing to shit but trauma, abuse, STDs, STIs, and unwanted kids. That's what you're contributing to. But that's a whole nother aspect. But at the end of the day, what is going on? There was another situation where a woman was killed by her ex. And then, of course, in true cis male fashion, like the cowards that I'm just going to say it. In my opinion, the vast majority of these cis men are cowards. He kills himself. Now you have a child who has no father or a mother because the father was a jackass and a misogynistic idiot. It needs to be hauled out. Okay? And then you have other women who are setting up other women to be abused and assaulted and taken advantage of because you're jealous of her. Because you want her man. Again, you have to start realizing everybody that smiles in your face does not have your best interests. A lot of these dudes don't like you. They start off with the love bombing and trying to make it seem like they care about you and they want to spend all this time with you and they want to give you all of this attention and affection. Some of them use their money to control you, buying you gifts, taking you out, trying to, let's go to this vacation spot, blah, blah, blah. And by the time they done love bombed you, now all of a sudden here comes the controlling, the possessiveness. Now you can't go with your friends. Now you can't go here. Now you got to wear this. Now you better respond to my text in 5 minutes if I text you. Now I'm pulling up at your job, at your place where you live. I'm controlling everything. I'm isolating you from your friends and family. Y'all don't realize this. Then you got like I said, you got these fake ass women who are not your friends, plotting on your downfall, hoping and praying that you fail. Because they want you out the picture. They jealous and envious of you and your success. Something has to be talked about. And then let's keep in mind, we have black trans women being murdered and killed in the streets by the same black cis men that are killing black cis women and black children. Keep it real. Every time you turn around, there is a black trans woman being murdered. And then y'all want to keep pushing this false narrative that these cis men do not know that these are trans women, that these are intersex women. Hate to break it to you, but cis men are attracted to trans people. Whether that's trans men, trans women, they are attracted to them. They are attracted to us. We can't help that. Not to mention, somebody being attracted to you doesn't mean that they respect you, doesn't mean that they like you, and really doesn't mean that they want you. They're just physically attracted to you, or they're sexually attracted to you, or a combination of the two. Doesn't mean they want to be with you, doesn't mean that they respect and honor you, because a lot of times it is just physical. Okay? They're using us as sex toys and sex objects. That's basically what's happening here. Which brings me to my next point, but I'm going to do another separate video on, again, hookup culture does not really benefit anybody except cis men. Just being real. And if we're being honest, marriage doesn't benefit anybody but cis men. Because what are you signing up for? I mean, literally, you're basically signing up to be a surrogate mother. Because, you know, he's an overgrown man-child. He doesn't know how to cook clean. He's not responsible. He's expecting you to be his maid and his sex toy and to put up with all of his bare minimum effort and mediocrity. I'm just calling it for what it is. It needs to be talked about. And again, black trans women are being murdered and killed, y'all. And then they purposely sit up here and want to push that negative BS narrative that these men don't know that these people are trans. They do. And I also want to talk about how a lot of these black cis women are just as transphobic and homophobic as their black cis male counterparts. Because my thing is, y'all are sitting up here telling cis men that are attracted to trans women that they're gay. When that is a heterosexual relationship, honey. That is a woman. That is a trans woman. She might be a woman of trans experience, but she is a woman. Okay? And he is a man that's attracted to a trans woman. So that's a heterosexual setup. And then I'm not blaming y'all, but pay attention to this. When we're pushing the hatred of women, misogyny, and then we have sexism and patriarchy and toxic masculinity, then you turn around and you have the transphobia and the homophobia built in, intertwined. This is a disaster. This is set up for, it's a recipe for disaster. Okay, because you have a lot of these men who are on the down low because you are homophobic. And the black community, let's be real, homophobic, transphobic, very bigoted. The only issues y'all seem to really want to talk about is racism. Meanwhile, you treat each other like shit. I don't really see how Black Lives Matter when all you're doing is killing black women, killing black children, killing black men. You're killing each other at alarming rates, but you want to sit up here and scream and shout and march in the street talking about Black Lives Matter. The only time it matters is when a police officer or a white person does something to a black cis man. That's the only time. Because, again, even when police are killing and harming black women, y'all not marching and rallying for them. You're not. When black children are literally going missing, being put into human and sex trafficking, being murdered and killed in their own community, being taken advantage of and abused by their own families, y'all are not marching and rallying and protesting. If Black Lives Matter, you would be concerned about the amount, the percentage of black children who are growing up in poverty. You would be concerned about that, but you're not. So I'm just over all of this. I'm over so many things right now. Information about everything that I'm talking about these situations of people being women and girls being killed, aka femicide, and then the high rates of femicide and the high rates of black femicide. And it's not just in the USA, because one of the cases that I talked about earlier with the 15-year-old girl having her throat slit with a machete from a 17-year-old boy, that's not even in the USA. That's over there in Europe. But she's black. I'm going to just say it. A lot of these boys are literally future predators and abusers. That's what you're raising them to be. It is what it is. And at this day and age, I'm going to keep saying it. I strongly recommend black women, whether you're trans, cis, non-binary, black LGBTQ plus people, you need to get your CPL, your CCWs. You need to invest in getting a gun. You need to invest in getting training, getting self-defense training, getting CPL, CCW training, how to maneuver guns, how to clean your gun, how to load your gun. You need to practice self-defense because they are taking us out left and right. A lot of these people do not have your best interests, and they do not care about you, and they show it every single day. Y'all want to sit up here, and I'm so sick and tired of this, well, everybody's not bad, but there sure is a lot more bad people than there are good folks, honey. I'm sorry. Doesn't it strike you odd that damn near everybody you know has been sexually molested, raped, or assaulted? You don't think that's odd? And again, everybody is telling you this, but then y'all are still sitting up here talking about, well, it's not all men. Yet the vast majority of the people being sexually assaulted and molested were sexually assaulted by men, cisgendered men. And this is not to say that you don't have women out here sexually abusing and assaulting.
That's true.
It's not to say that women aren't also sexual predators, because they are.
Yep.
There's a lot going on here. And this just ends up being generational. You know, the mother was molested, the daughter was molested, the son was molested, the father was molested. It's literally generational after generation. And it's ridiculous. And then everybody wants to try to sweep it under the rug and act like it's not happening, and we're going to pray it away, and Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Meanwhile, the abuser is still allowed to come to the family functions. Make it make sense. Y'all still friends with the abuser. And a lot of you cis men are still sitting up, hanging out with your boy that's a deadbeat, your boy that has multiple sexual abuse allegations about him out here, and you know it, but that's still your homie and that's still your pal. So again, when so-called good guys, good men don't speak up about the bad men, you are just as much as a part of the problem.
That's true.
It is what it is. It's time to start checkmating these idiots. And you need to protect yourself at all costs. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. Because the benefit of the doubt is why you're being killed. The benefit of the doubt is why you're being abused. The benefit of the doubt is why you're being used and manipulated. The benefit of the doubt is why so many people are ending up in toxic, abusive, dysfunctional relationships. You have to start recognizing, I don't care. In my opinion, the vast majority of humans ain't worth a pot to piss in. And that's just keeping it real. If there's 100%, you might have 10 to 20% of the population that's actually decent. The other 80 to 90% are very questionable. And that also means, so I can end this video because it's almost 20 minutes. This also means that as individuals, including myself, we also, including myself, have to start looking at our own behaviors and recognizing how we also play a role in the continuation of abuse and trauma. Because all of us are products of this environment. We've all been taught to look at women and girls differently. Because we're all a part of misogyny, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, racism, patriarchy, white supremacy. We're all a part of this. Classism. We're all a part of this. And it really does take an initiative. It takes effort to unlearn toxic, dysfunctional ideologies and behaviors. I'm out.